Hello and welcome, guys. Today we are back with, I guess, what you might just call a regular old amulet list. We don't have anything super special going on. In fact, the most interesting thing here in the sideboard actually is Relic of Progenitus. This is one that we're trying as a 3 of to see if we can combat those Mystic Sanctuary and Uro type piles, Blue Green X, Graveyard Matters almost. I guess you could call them that, but the idea behind this is to stop our opponent from recurring multiple Aether Gusts or Cryptic Commands or whatever with their Mystic Sanctuary loops, and to make it a little harder for those decks to get Uro onto the battlefield from the graveyard. As you may have caught on from my previous videos, one of the things that you can do to help your chances in that particular matchup and to set up well for the late game against these Blue-Green X control decks is to bog and rebog them and then pick it back up and then play it a third time and continue to bog them all throughout the game with your bounce lands and just never let them get relevant cards in their graveyard. And it really reduces the effect of cards like Fact or Fiction or Uro. And that is something that I'm interested in. So this is the list that we've got in front of us. Let me know what you think of it in the comments. But before you do that, watch to the end of the league so you get an idea for how it actually plays out. You can't just say your opinion without having some amount of evidence to base it on, right? Anyways, we all know that's not true. This is the internet. So let's just jump straight into the league. While we are waiting for our opponent here, I do want to note that I have returned to playing a Singleton Fierce Empath here in the main board, as well as sort of a Primeval Titan number 5, if you will, or maybe a Tolaria West number 3, some kind of hybrid between those. And that is a bit of tech that I'm porting over from Luca Giannarini's list from the past. I wanted to give that a shot again, since last time I played Fierce Empath on the channel, on my own, it was sort of just going heavy on empaths, getting a little bit of a toolbox from it. I don't know. Maybe it'll be good as just a one-of to try to tutor for our Titan. Just make sure we have what we need. Let's see what we can get paired against if our opponent joins in 3, 2. All right, looks like they have found the match. And looks like they're on the play. Unfortunate for us. Unfortunate. This hand seems awful. If we had a 3-drop or an amulet, it would be fine, but we have neither of those things, so let's mulligan. This hand is interesting. It's definitely a keep, I think. What do we bottom? Maybe Crumbling Vestige here? Keeping for sure. I think bottoming Crumbling Vestige makes some sense. We could also bottom the Tracker. Let's bottom the land. Alright. Let's see what's going on here. Mountain. Foil Mountain. Foil Theros Mountain. How about that? Alright. So let's lead on this Grazer. A second bounce land is actually fantastic here. So one thing I was thinking, but have not yet said, is that we don't want to just throw a bounce land into play and then not have something to play repeatedly to get value out of our tracker, but having a second bounce land makes it much easier to attain that ideal. So now we can just put in our Growth Chamber and have turn 2 Dryad play out battlements, or maybe we even just wait on the additional land drop there so we can get full value out of tracker if at all possible. Uh-oh, is this Storm? Whenever I see Spirebuff Canal, that's my first question. Is this Storm? It would be kind of unfortunate if it was. But luckily for us, the relics in the sideboard should help this matchup. Oh, it looks like it's some kind of blue-red Delver deck, or maybe blue-red Blitz. Interesting. Explosives is pretty good here. I think we're still just putting our Dryad into play. So here he goes. And I think we are supposed to play out the land here. So we'll pass it back. Our Arboreal Grazer already doing some work, preventing them from just getting in the swing for 1. Man, what a powerful effect. It gained us 1 life. Isn't that insane? See another Spirebuff Canal come into play. Makes sense for this deck to be playing. I assume they play very few lands in the first place, so I'm willing to chump this. If they want to throw 2 spells just to get their Sprite Dragon through this Arboreal Grazer successfully. That's fine with me. Got Lava Dart, targeting the Grazer. Okay, so I guess they only have to throw one spell at it. We can certainly ruin their day if they decide to go all in on this Sprite Dragon, because we do have our mainboard engineered explosives here to kind of back things up. They have a Stormwing entity. That makes sense. Not that it's good for us, but it does make sense. Actually, that amulet may change things a little bit. That'll mean we'll have access to 7 mana, so we can play Tracker and play in Pop Explosives on 2. I am down. Okay, here's the amulet. And we do need to pop Explosives here, because if our opponent just goes off with a Manamorphose sort of turn, then we'll be in trouble, so we're just doing everything so we can get the maximum number of clues here, and you know, we can yield to this amulet. So long as we have the 1 in play, it should be of no consequence. Pick up our Rot Farm and play that one again. And we're still going to leave that one in our hand, so we have access to Titan mana. Here's an Explosives for 1, 2. Done. And we will pop that one immediately. Go ahead. No attacks for 2. We now have 2 draws to a potential Titan if we don't just top deck one. If we top deck a Titan, we can play it pretty easily, so let's just hope we're not just taking a bunch of damage from this Stormwing entity. If we don't draw a Titan straight off the top, we do get 1 clue cycle. Assuming we can keep this Dryad in play, we can cycle 1 clue and see if we find it and still be able to cast Titan. So, that is worth noting. Can't block the flyer, so we'll just take it. Could be taking quite a hit here. Not much that we could have done about that anyways. If we get a Titan into play, we'll start getting Valakut triggers to clean this one up. We actually might be able to just kill our opponent if we do happen to get a Titan into play here, so come on, Titan off the top. Titan off the top. Let's go. Titan. Come on, Titan. I guess Fierce Empath would not do it. We'd be a mana short, so that needs to be Summoner's Pact or Primeval Titan. Light up the stage is fine by me. Swift Spear, Mutagenic. So those are things that can be used next turn. Titan, come on. Titan. Amulet. Well, that gives us potentially a lot of additional mana to cycle clues here, so we'll play that one out. We need to go undo these yields to Amulet of Vigor. Remove selected. Alright, so here's a Rot Farm. We'll still have 1 land drop remaining this turn, so we'll make the mana and crack a clue. And yield to these triggers as well. Explore is actually pretty fantastic here, not gonna lie. So let's float the mana, pick it up, and we'll cast this Explore now. Alright, Garenbrig, not really helping us here. We have many looks at a Titan here, though, so let's cycle our good old clue friend here. No? Alright. Let's try this once more. Come on, Titan. There we go. Alright. So we got a Titan this turn. This is almost assuredly just lethal. We'll pick up the bounce land here, I suppose. Here's the bad boy himself. Heck yeah, we'd like to search for that one. We'll get Valakut, and we already have Hanweir in place, so I guess just double Valakut makes some sense. Or let's just go with Valakut Radiant Fountain. I don't really see a reason not to. All the triggers. Our opponent will be dead this turn. We just have to figure out how to get there. In a timely manner, that is. We already know how to get there. We just gotta work out all the rest of it, you know? Alright, we can yield to the Radiant Fountain here. Alright, combat. Attack with all. Yes. Here comes Valakut and Vesuva, copying Valakut. And so we can right-click and save targets this Valakut trigger, and put everything else on the stack, and it'll be good. Or our opponent will go ahead and graciously concede for us here. Alright, we want the explosives. We want dismembers. That might be about it. We could want Baloth, but it doesn't really do much against their flyers, so I'm not sure that I'm sold on Baloth here. Relic is unlikely to matter. Veil of Summer doesn't stop the only interaction that they'll realistically have for us, which is Aether Gust, so I'm not really interested in Veil here either. So let's see, we can board out these Explorers, as they are rather slow. And I think that's pretty much it. Pretty straightforward sideboarding. I'm not sure I love Tracker in this matchup, despite all the work that it just did, because it does just die to Bolt and Lava Dart as well. So let's make that small little change here. Let's see, is there a land that we would want to cut, like Ghost Quarter perhaps? Yeah, we can cut a Ghost Quarter for an Explorer as well. Ghost Quarter, the only thing relevant that it does would be to let us hit our own land and fix ourselves against a potential Blood Moon, but I'm not really going to play around that, so I'd rather not have the Ghost Quarter in the deck. Explorer happened to be very clutch there, as well as the second Amulet, not going to lie. This hand is pretty interesting. We'll keep it for sure. I think the play might be to Grazer on one, putting out a land so that we can fetch and play and blow explosives on one if we need to. And that way we can still keep access to our Amulet. We'll see exactly how this pans out, though. I imagine there's a Swift Spear, Soulscar Mage of some sort. There's clearly going to be Grazer on one. We'll see what follows very soon. Dryad is a pretty good one. Alright, so let's go Forest, Grazer. We can yield to that one. There's a tapped pool. Don't need to pay the life. I don't think it would make a difference anyways. It would still enter tap. Now, if our opponent just plays 2 more Swift Spears here or something crazy like that, we have it covered. If we draw a land here, specifically a bounce land would be fantastic. And then we can go ahead and get this Dryad into play and get some immediate value out of it. Not even attacking into the Grazer, huh? I mean, I guess we want to get Dryad into play. No reason to play out this explosives just yet. We'll get our regular basic forest here. Playing around Blood Moon, making all the names for field, all that good stuff. That good stuff that you know and love. And we'll pass it back. We have tons of disruption. Now we just need to top deck a bounce land and a Titan, and we'll be pretty golden. I imagine we're going to see a 1-drop into Stormwing Entity or something like that here. Which will be unfortunate, since we can't realistically explosives that particular line away. Nothing, huh? Just absolutely nothing. Hanweir. Okay. Not sure if we're gonna want to play out this amulet or not, to be honest, because we would have to explosives and blow our own amulet up. I will, however, play an explosives preemptively on 2, so we can deal with a sprite dragon, I think. Might be a bit hasty, but that's fine. If they want to abrade this or something like that, then I'm not really worried about it. Just use our mana while we have access to it. A Garen Brig would also be a fine draw because that would let us cast a Titan if we were to draw one, so... We're also only 2 lands away from Valakut here, so if we draw Valakut and then another land, that's not the worst. Are we crashing for 2? I think so. Actually, nah, let's not, because then we would lose our Dryad to a Bolt if they were to, like, block and bolt the Dryad. Or even, like, double Lava Dart or something crazy like that. There's a Soulscar Mage. That one's pretty fine, I think. Now we can get them with our explosives on 1 that they are almost certainly not expecting. Then we can finally play out our amulet. We could also just play Grazer here. Cavern of Souls is interesting. We'll name Giant here. Not really playing around a whole lot in this case, to be honest. Like I said, Aether Gust is the only piece of counter magic I would really expect from them. Let's go ahead and deploy the gray explosives on 1. I was thinking we could just throw out the Grazer here, but then if they just go bolt both of our Grazers and attack, then we're in pretty bad shape, and I don't really want to give that as an option for our opponent, so let's just explosives on 1 here as well. Surprise, opponent, we kept a hand with 2 engineered explosives. If they want to put some minus counters on this Dryad here, I might be inclined to go ahead and blow explosives anyways. Definitely not attacking. Although I suppose popping explosives for 1 would allow us to get in for 2 damage, but I don't know how relevant that is. Putting your opponent down to 16 can be relevant in an amulet list, especially if you're playing the Stronghold and Sunhome build, because you can play Titan as a 6-power attacker, Stronghold it up to 8, and then Sunhome for the double strike up to 16. So them being at exactly 16 would be relevant if we were playing the Boros Garrison build. However, it's not really particularly relevant since we are not doing that. I am very tempted to go ahead and blow this explosives just so we can get Amulet into play here. That way we could top deck land into Titan and still be fine. Otherwise, we wouldn't have the Amulet already in play for when we start to combo off here. Yeah, and getting the Soulscar out of play makes a good sense to me as well. So let's just go ahead and pop the explosives. Not like it's costing us a Grazer at all. Azusa. Okay. So here's the Amulet. Well, if we play Azusa, then we can still hold up our explosives on 2, which I like. And we'll have plenty of land drops. I guess if we draw a non-bounce land, it'll end up hurting us. But, awkward. I'm just going to play out the Azusa. Suppose we could deploy the Grazer and the Amulet here as well instead of holding up explosives on 2. So if they have the dragon, then we can block with the Grazer. If they have an Abrade or something to kill explosives, then it's not going to make a difference here anyways. I'm going to bottom that one. We'd like to draw a Titan or something like that at this point. Now let's just pass it back. We're going to attack, of course, but... I suppose if we were to draw Talaria West into bounce land, then we could Grazer out the bounce land for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana. So that doesn't even actually let us cast Titan. Oh, wait, no. It would be 10 mana because we get an extra land drop from the Dryad. So then, I guess if we draw Talaria West first, then we would just go ahead and transmute it and then go off with a bounce land the turn after. But if we draw exactly Simic Growth Chamber or whatever into Talaria West, then holding on to the Grazer is going to be a little bit better. So let's just hold up the explosives, I think. They only have 3 cards, so going up to 4 here, they could play a Swift Spear and then like triple Bolt Us or something, and that would be 9 plus 4 would be 13. Soulscar Mage, not super worried about that one at the moment. They don't have any Lava Darts or anything like that in the graveyard, so. Talaria West. Something good. Titan. Come on. There we go. There's Talaria West. So, we could go ahead and get a Titan from this Talaria West, but we may also need it for a mana source for a Titan. And since we have the Grazer, if we draw a bounce land, then I guess though, if we draw any land, then we're going to want to already have the Titan in hand. So let's use this turn to deploy our stuff. We'll play the Amulet, and we'll cycle Talaria West and get this Grazer into play. I say cycle. I always do that. Transmute Talaria West. Spell Pierce. We can yield to the Soulscar. Well, that one's kind of awkward, because if we pay for the Pierce, then we can't transmute. But if we draw a bounce land exactly, then we can transmute and still play our Titan this upcoming turn anyways. So let's just do this. It lets us hold up the Engineer Disposes anyways, so we'll be fine. We could also play out the Talaria West so we can get Grazer into play here as well. I don't know how worried I am about that. Nah, let's just pass. You get 1 turn to attack with your Soulscar Mage and 3 cards in hand. And maybe playing this Explosives on 2 is a little hasty, I don't know. Light up the stage just for the straight up 3 mana cost. Okay. Well, we are going to lose our Dryad here with all of this stuff going on. Assuming our opponent wants to do that. Certainly not blocking. Yeah, well, this is definitely going to punish us for not having transmuted the last turn, because... Or they'll just pass, I suppose. Now we definitely want to transmute this Talaria West while we can. Yeah, we definitely need to transmute this now, so... Let's do it this way. Let's leave our forest open, as if it makes a huge difference. Alright, we'll transmute. We'll get our Summoner's Pact here. And just hope to spike a land off the top. Them landing us on tap with the Dryad here. I mean, they didn't know that we had Talaria West, but even so, that was potentially risky for them. Okay, and, we could Grazer here. Or we could just hold up Dismember. Let's just hold up Dismember, I suppose. I don't know if there's any sense to attacking there or not. We're probably not blocking with the Dryad, especially given this knowledge, so maybe getting the 2 points of damage would have been relevant, but... At least we only have to pay 2 life for this Dismember when we do, in fact, cast it. We can wait for our opponent to get a trigger on the stack for the Prowess. Oh no! Forgot that we have Yields to the Prowess set. Let's go ahead and fire off this Dismember now. They'd have to have a spell in hand that they can cast in addition to these 2. And then even so, we're still gaining... We'd still be gaining 5 life from diminishing the power of this Soulscar Mage, so... Spell Pierce. Okay. Well, we're taking a chunk of damage. Let's see, so that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we're effectively at 3 right now. Oh, geez. I wonder if they'll flash back the lava dart here or not. Definitely getting punished for this explosives on 2. I do choose to go with the dart here, so... Okay. There's a Titan mana, so that's pretty good. And we can activate Field here and get a Radiant Fountain, so we're looking pretty good. Let's make a green here. Summoner's Pack for Titan. Let's leave our Hanweir up, I suppose. That way we can haste our Titan as well. Okay, so... Here we want to get a red source, obviously, so Valakut makes sense. And then I guess we'll go ahead and get Field, so then we can get Radiant Fountain and maybe Vesuva copying Field if we wanted to, or we could get a Bounce Land and pick up. Well, we can't replay the Field, but we might be able to get it into play, not the Field, the Radiant Fountain. We might be able to get a second Radiant Fountain trigger here off of our Grazer, which seems like it should be a pretty good idea. So let's go ahead and get the Radiant Fountain here, I think. And we can get Field, Bounce Land, pick up the Radiant Fountain. I guess we could have done this in a slightly different order, but that's okay. So this time we'll get the Field and a Bounce Land, and we'll just get Growth Chamber, I think. Seems good to me. We'll pick up the Fountain. And we have a Grazer for Fountain. We're even holding up explosives on 2 here, for whatever that's worth. And I think that's pretty much the game. Our opponent would need a card that can kill Primeval Titan immediately. I will block. Okay, so let's pay for our good old pack trigger here. Yep, that'll do it. We can just go for a Dryad here and just kill our opponent with Valakut, so... Seems like the plan to me. Swing! You can get in there too, Grazer. It's all good. It is all good. Valakut, Vesuva. Vesuva copying that Valakut right there. A little small, a little hard to click, but that's okay. We got the trick. And save targets targeting our opponent. And yep, that is the match. All right, so off to a pretty easy 2-0 start here. Nothing surprising facing against blue-red prowess here. Of course, Grazer being the key piece of interaction here, making everything perfectly all right. If this were a Sakura Tribe Scout, we'd be boarding it out and going down to only one drop being Amulet, and that would be a little difficult. But since we get to keep our Grazers here, we get to get a little bit of speed, a little bit of life gain, and it just generally sets you up very well for the late game. So that, in combination with the fact that our opponent was on blue-red prowess and not mono-red prowess, meaning we're not going to face things like Kiln Fiend and that kind of garbage and Blood Moon and all that stuff, makes for a good matchup. And yeah, that was pretty straightforward. I hope you guys enjoyed it, got some entertainment from it, got some learning perhaps. Maybe you got to learn a little bit about how to play the matchup, or even just how I like to play the matchup. Might not even be the right way to do it. Maybe I was making mistakes. Definitely could have been maybe on that turn where right before the turn where I top decked the Dryad, maybe I should have been trying to set up a Talari West or something so we could have the kill immediately. But to be honest, I think untapping with the Titan still in play is probably good enough as to be considered a kill. So, anyways, I will see you guys for the next match. This is Redface Menace, signing off.